What if I said that all this story about equivalence is just a fantasy? For the last few years, the European Union has been dangling equivalence in front of the UK for it to end up being deemed equivalent by UK authorities instead. Let's flip in the script, right? My goal is to help you overcome the fantasy that with the newly introduced UK overseas fund regime, the UK just gave a free pass to all European funds and their managers willing to enter its retail fund market. And I want to make you aware of the real-life challenges that European fund managers will face when making an application to be recognized for marketing under the UK overseas fund regime. Why should you watch this? Because we will not just list the requirements of the UK FCA policies like everyone else is doing. We will see in practice what they mean for your business. In this video, I will talk to you about financial promotion approvals and why this might be a real showstopper for you, cost and fees, and how to deal with the UK FCA if you're challenged about them when you're making an application. And we will also talk about prospectus disclosures. Before you can sell your European funds in the UK, there are other types of disclosures and other arrangements you will need to establish. More namely, these are the investor redress disclosures, UCITS kits and consumer composite investment disclosures, and UK facilities agent. We will make sure to cover also those. All this courtesy of the brand I represent, Veneziano & Partners. We are the experts of European fund distribution. Financial promotions are a cornerstone of UK investor protection. But what is a financial promotion? Any communication to enter into an investment activity made in the course of business and capable of having effects in the UK. In real-life terms, this will be all your fact sheets, marketing material, advertisement, and even your social media contents. There is a main prohibition in the UK regulation whereby only a firm authorized by the UK FCA can communicate a financial promotion. If you are non-authorized person by the UK FCA, you cannot communicate a financial promotion unless their contents are approved by an authorized person. Under the UK overseas fund regime, UCITS are deemed to be non-authorized persons, so they cannot approve their own financial promotions. Let's look at the option for UCITS here, and if there are, first of all, any exemptions to the main prohibitions that are available. We do have the so-called group exemption, which covers the case where a UK authorized entity belongs to the same group of an unauthorized person, a UCITS in our case. The authorized person can approve the content of the financial promotion of the unauthorized person part of its group. Let's make a real-life example here. If you're a third-party UCITS managed by an independent management company, assuming that such management company has an authorized, a UK authorized person as well in its group, this exemption is not going to work for you. And that is because as a third-party UCITS, you don't belong to the same group of the independent management company where the UK authorized person sits as well. Let's look at another option. How complicated can it be in real life to appoint a third-party entity to approve financial promotion? When introducing the UK overseas fund regime, UK authorities made the financial promotion regime stricter. Authorized persons need a specific permission from the UK FCA to approve financial promotions of third parties. As of today, firms with this permission are mostly small firms and they are dislocated in the digital asset and crowdfunding space. They are hardly willing to take on UCITS related work because they don't always have the relevant expertise, but when they do, they charge big bucks. For now, it is their market, it's not yours. When making an application for recognition under the UK overseas fund regime, UCITS will have to name an entity in charge of approving their financial promotions. If you don't provide a name or you name the wrong entity, your application simply won't proceed. Cost and fees is another area critical for recognition under the UK overseas fund regime. When UK investment funds apply for authorization, they must provide the FCA with information on their cost and fee structure. A similar treatment will be reserved for the first time also to the UCITS that are applying for marketing recognition under the UK overseas fund regime. As part of the dataset that is required in the recognition process, UCITS will have to provide the FCA with information on fees and charges at fund level, but also at unit and share class level, and those are the initial fees and also the exit or redemption charges. Ongoing charge figures, performance fees, amount of the annual management fee that is retained by the management company, and details of any payments to be made to entities that are associated with marketing or distributing the fund. The issue for UCITS is clearly not to gather this information and make it available, rather in the use that the FCA will make of it as part of the recognition process. UK investment fund managers have been subject for a few years now to local rules on so-called assessment of value for money, and they have been made accountable for the money that they offer to consumers. With the UK overseas fund regime, UK authorities did not give up their sovereignty and will continue to pursue investor protection according to their own rules. This will mean that European UCITS likely will be assessed also for the value for money they offer. Best piece of advice here: do the work in advance. Be able to demonstrate to the FCA, where you get asked the question, that you have assessed that your UCITS offer value for money and that there is a process to make sure that that is the case, including peer comparison and also assessments that are made at least on a yearly basis. I know this is not officially the rule of law in Europe yet, but it's coming there too, so it's clearly not a waste. Actually, it will make all the difference. Disclosures sit borderline between the requirements for recognition under the UK overseas fund regime and the necessary tools to sell a fund. And the angle here is related to the redress that UCITS can offer compared to UK funds. UK funds typically offer a recourse to the Financial Ombudsman Service, who gives another take to investor complaints made against a fund when these investors are not happy with the results of an initial complaint that was made directly towards the manager of the fund. In addition, in the UK, there is the so-called Financial Services Compensation Scheme, which acts as a backstop offered by the government in case a fund manager cannot deal successfully with any claim that was awarded against them. So the government steps in and provides a compensation. Both remedies are typically not offered by European UCITS, and disclosures should reflect not only the fact that the UK typical type of redress is not available, but also describe what are the remedies available in the home state of the UCITS and whether there are any conditions attached to them. By way of example, if somebody can raise a complaint in English language, whether a complaint attracts charges, whether there are caps on the awards as a consequence of these complaints, and the investor disclosure should trickle down from the prospectus to the financial promotion, passing by the point of sale documentation, and the prospectus shall contain the accurate description of the actual redress that is available. The point of sale documentation should say that there is no UK style redress for investors, and maybe add a link to more information that can be hosted on a website, and the financial promotion should simply state that there is no UK style redress available. We mentioned the point of sale and the UCITS kits. It makes a lot of sense on this point to restate that the UK did not onshore the PRIIPs regulation and is also in the process of rolling out a new type of retail disclosure under the Consumer Composite Investment Regulation. For the time being, UCITS kits will be used by UCITS which intend to be recognized under the UK Overseas Fund regime, because that's the case also for the UCITS that are marketed under the temporary marketing permission regime. Going forward, UCITS which intend to retain access to the UK retail fund market will have to comply also with the new regulation and the new disclosures under the Consumer Composite Investment Regulation. To wrap it up, under the UK Overseas Fund regime, the prospectus of a UCITS shall contain also disclosures listed under Col 425R, to the extent that disclosure do not contradict the home state regulation of the UCITS, nor conflict with any statement that is already contained in the prospectus. And for Irish UCITS, the Central Bank of Ireland recently stated that this disclosure, it's much easier to put them in a country supplement for the UK, which exists already, and this way there will be a lighter review. Actually, no review at all, because that's a notification process. Last but not least, UCITS will have to appoint a local facilities agent in the UK. To keep it simple, the local facilities were used to be offered out of an address in the UK, where investors could receive assistance for things like inspecting and obtaining copies of documents, have information on NAV prices, maybe learn how to make a complaint. Whilst a UK facility should also receive requests, at least in principle, for subscription and redemption, this is something that is done by distributors. In the old days, the facilities were a physical address in the UK which needed to be listed in the prospectus of the UCITS, but with the advent of digitalization, it is now accepted that facilities can also be offered online through an electronic medium, and that is possible especially when the prospectus of the UCITS states that communication with unit holders can take place via such specific electronic medium. Unit holders will have to have consented as well to the use of such medium, and the facilities shall be offered electronically in English and free of charge. If I were you, I would continue to use a physical address, at least for the time being, and would consider a switch as the point of sale disclosure becomes entirely digital. If you made it up to this part of the video, I wanted to thank you and invite to hit like to the video and subscribe to the channel. A lot more to come on European and UK distribution. As always, thank you for watching and stay tuned.